be discussing what to do once you arrive at the airport. Make sure you arrive early. Now, the general rule is if you are flying domestically within your own country, try to get to the airport 2 hours before your flight. And then if you're going to go internationally, please try to arrive 3 hours before your flight. This will ensure that you have enough time to get your luggage tags, get your boarding pass, go through security, and find your gate. It's always better to have time to relax by your gate instead of spending most of your time at home and getting to the airport with not a lot of time. When you arrive early to your flight, that is never wasted time. Once you arrive at the airport, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your boarding pass and drop off your check-in bag. Sometimes if you check in 24 hours in advance, the airline may give you your boarding pass, but most of the time you're going to have to go to the kiosk or the counter. If this is your first flight, I recommend just going straight to the counter so then the people can help you if needed. If you do go to a kiosk, what you're going to do is take your passport.
Hey, what's up? What to do, y'all? It's yours truly, Mr. PSA. I am the public Sony's announcements, aka I am Sony Reviewed It. Just making a reaction to traveling for the first time. She makes very good points. I would also add on top of that, if this is your first time traveling, a lot of you guys will probably have travel anxiety. Travel anxiety basically means you don't know where you're going. You don't want to ask any questions. You're going to feel stupid. So you're going to try to go into the kiosk. You're going to try to figure it out. Don't do that. I would just advise you just go straight to the ticket counter and talk to one of the agents. Just tell them it's your first time flying and you don't know what to do. If you don't want to go to the counter, then I would advise you to go to find an agent and have them come walk you through the process and how to do it. It can be intimidating, but a lot of you guys just are afraid to ask questions. So I would just say, just ask questions. The best thing you can do in an airline industry is ask questions, because these airports are big and they're long, and one false move, you could get lost.
Or put your confirmation number in for your flight. So you can either scan it or type it in. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up your name and your flight, and you're just going to verify a few details. It will then print out your boarding pass, which I'll talk about in just a split moment. And it's going to also print out a luggage tag. For the luggage tag, what you want to do is put that tag on your check-in bag. And there's usually some instructions on how to do it. This luggage tag tells the airline where this luggage is supposed to end up. So let's say I am in Los Angeles and I'm traveling to Japan and I have like a layover in Hawaii. This luggage tag will say, don't end up in Hawaii, end up in Japan. If you've ever seen Toy Story 2, then you'll see how complicated it is for the luggage to get to the correct plane. So also Toy Story 2 is a good movie. Toy Story 1's kind of scary. So after you get your boarding pass and your luggage tag, you're going to then go to the front of the counter and then drop off your bag. You're going to hand it to the nice people and then they will do their thing. Keep with you your carry-on bag and your personal item.
Now, mind you, when you go to the ticket counter and you meet one of the agents, whichever airline you're traveling to, all they are really doing is just double checking that everything is properly spelled right, such as your first name, last name, and middle name, and they're going to check your date of birth. That's basically what they're doing. By them doing that, that assures you that you can actually go upstairs to TSA. Now, every airport is structured differently. If you go upstairs to TSA and your name is spelled wrong, technically in the TSA system, it's not you. What TSA will do is they'll have you go right back downstairs and they'll have you find the agent or whichever airline you're traveling with. They'll have you fix that ticket, meaning fix the date of birth, fix the last name. So I always say it's very important when you're checking in, just go to the ticket counter and just talk to one of the agents there and they can help you.
There is no kiosk option. Just stand in line to get to the counter, and what the people are going to do is they're going to check your passport. They're going to make sure your face looks like your passport. They're going to give you your boarding pass. They're also going to weigh your luggage, and then they're going to do the luggage tag for you. And then they'll usually tell you, go this way for security. So if it is your first flight, just go to the counter. Once you receive your boarding pass, it's about this big, maybe like the size of a Nintendo Switch. You're going to see on there, it's going to have your name, the date, the flight, what time you're supposed to board.
This can be a little bit intimidating to other people, but I'll do whatever I can to go through it. As you can tell, I'm gonna put my cursor right there to have your flight number, it has where you're going to, and then it'll also right here it'll have from meaning where you're traveling to, and then when you scroll down here, it'll have your passenger name, it'll have your first and last name there, and then
what gate you're supposed to go on, and then just other details on the flight. But yeah, keep that with you because you're going to have to show that or give that to the people once you board the plane. That's why it's called a boarding pass. I also did want to mention that a lot of very seasoned travelers, they tend to travel light, and it's because they don't want to go through the whole check-in process once you get to the airport. So if they already have their boarding pass, what they could do is just skip this step entirely and head straight to security. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, it would mean so much to me if you just took your finger and just pushed that little subscribe button down there. Here at Build Your Moxie, I cover travel, personal finance, and self-improvement. Let's talk about how to get through airport security. So after you've checked in and you have your boarding pass and you have dropped off your check-in luggage, you're gonna go find the security line. So once you're standing there, just make sure you're trying to get all of your stuff ready. So what I like to do is just put my laptop and my liquids close to the surface, because once you get to the front of the line, things tend to move pretty quick. Once you get to the front of the line, the person there is gonna ask to see your boarding pass and sometimes your passport or your government issued ID, and sometimes they make you take off your mask if you're wearing one just to make sure your face matches your passport. Then this person's gonna direct you on which line to stand in, and you're gonna see a line. Probably there's gonna be a lot of people and there's gonna be a lot of trays.
With the government shutdown, I would strongly urge a lot of you guys, when you're going through TSA, just tell the agent thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for you doing what you do for us, because it's very challenging that a lot of them we're all living in tough times where the average American is currently living check to check. So as you're going through TSA, just tell them thank you very much. Do what you can to be polite with them. Be courteous to them, and then just pay attention to them and listen to them, meaning have all your stuff ready. If you have stuff in your pocket, just take things out of your pocket and put in the bin. And as always, don't forget to tell them thank you, because they're going through a very challenging situation right now. Hopefully it'll get better for them.
What you do once you get to the line of trays is you're going to first take off your shoes and put your shoes in a tray. Then you're going to make sure you take out your laptop, your liquids, and some other electronics like battery packs or iPads if the person is saying to do so, and you're going to put that in a tray. Usually your electronics are in one tray, and then your shoes are in another tray, and then you can put your personal item and your carry-on and any other like jackets or so in the trays as well. Just make sure your liquids are also out of the bag. When it comes to liquids, the only liquids you can bring are liquids that fit in a quart-sized bag. So I just get this from the 99-cent store. Here we go. In this bag, you're able to bring creams, paste, aerosols, and it has to be under 3.4 ounces per item that goes in the bag. So let's just say this is my favorite Korean skincare Matcha Hemp cleanser. This is 4 ounces. So even though it can fit in here, you cannot bring that because it is now 4 ounces, not 3.4. So what you want to do is just get a bunch of little travel items and put those inside the quart-sized bag. There you go. And this is actually 3 ounces, even though it looks bigger. If you are bringing through a water bottle or a cup or a coffee cup of some type, make sure there's no liquid inside, because you are not allowed to bring liquid minus in that quart-sized bag through the security. If you do have liquid, and I have forgotten once before, they will make you either throw the cup and the liquid away right there, or they're gonna make you drink it. There have been a couple times where I have forgotten, but I really like the water bottle, so I was just there in front of the dude and I was just chugging a bunch of water. I think it was almost 48 ounces and it was pretty miserable, so I had to find a bathroom later. So yes, make sure all of your containers are empty and you can only bring that quart-sized bag of liquids. Once all your items are on the trays, it's going to be pushed through, and then there's going to be an x-ray looking at all of your items just to make sure you're not bringing anything dangerous. So then at this time, you're going to stand in line to go through this imaging machine thing, and it's just checking for metal. So sometimes you can just walk straight through it. Other times you have to stand in this thing and it goes whoosh, whoosh, and you got to stand like this. But basically, you're going to see a picture of what to do and just follow what everyone else is doing. If you do have any issues with metal detectors, or if you have metal inside your body, just be sure to let the nice people know, because they may just have to do a manual pat down or just use the wand that goes like this. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. If your bag does get taken for investigation, don't freak out. You didn't do anything wrong, unless you did do something wrong. But as long as you don't bring an
A lot of the times, the reason why your bag may get taken by TSA is just because it's randomly selection, just randomly selected, which means some of you guys might be traveling with your friends, and your friends might choose to put something in your bag that will alert TSA, such as a water bottle, a large item, or something long that shouldn't be in there. So people play games, and what they'll do is they'll just call you over and investigate it. The best thing to do is just cooperate. Once you cooperate, they'll grab the item. If you can't take it, they'll throw it away, and you'll be going about your day.
Excess amount of liquids, or you're not bringing meats from like another country, you're usually pretty good. So one time my carry-on got taken and they're like, what is that thing? It's like this really dense thing. They're like, what is this girl doing? Anyways, they opened it up and we were coming from Hawaii and they just said, oh my gosh, is this all just Spam musubi? And I'm like, yes, that stuff is very dense because, you know, Spam, that can last through anything. Anyways, the nice lady just let us go and she just said, well, enjoy your Spam musubi. And I said, yes, I will do that. Also, we do like to travel a lot with protein bars, so just make sure to separate those within your carry-on bags, because when those are all together, or when macro bars are all together, those just look really dense. So if you don't want to be stopped, then just try to separate all your dense stuff. Here are just a few quick tips for security. 1, just do what they say. Don't be argumentative, just do what they say because they're just trying to push everyone through so everyone can enjoy their trip. Next, don't wear bulky items, take them off or else expect a possible pat down. 3, be ready for a pat down anyways, especially if you're wearing anything loose or if you have hair that's in a bun or a braid. 4, don't look overly suspicious. 5, be nice, but don't be overly friendly. 6, keep the line moving, you got this. 7, don't wear complicated shoes because you need to get them on and off fast. And 8, try to pack your bag in a way that's easy to take things in and out of. What I like to do with my personal item is I like to keep my zipper for my laptop facing up so I can then slide my laptop in and out easily. I also keep my liquids on top so I don't have to rummage through my bag. Alright, once you've finished with security, it is now time to find your gate. Now on your boarding pass, you may have your gate number right there. However, I highly recommend just finding this big electronic screen. There's a bunch of letters and numbers and it's going to have all the logos of all the airlines. Take a look at that screen just to cross-reference if it's the same number as your boarding pass. If it's not the same number as your boarding pass, just be sure to follow the one that's on the screen just because that gets more up to.
That's a very good point. Utilize the giant screen. Every airport has one of these screens inside them. Or if you don't want to look at that screen, all you can do is basically grab your phone and go to Google and just type in, if you're traveling, for example, with like Delta, you type in DL, you type in your flight number. If you're traveling with American Airlines, you type AM and the flight number. Or if you travel United Airlines, it's UA and then the flight number, and then just hit enter, and then Google will definitely populate it. Also, it's an app, Android and Apple, the flight tracker. If you just get the app, download it, you just tell it where you're going, your destination, the time and place, it will definitely show you which gate you're going to. So there's multiple ways of finding your gate if you're unsure. If you don't want to use your phone, you don't want to go to flight tracker, you don't want to go to Google, then just find your nearest agent at whichever airline you're traveling with. Let it be United, Spirit, Delta, American, Qatar, and just ask them, hey, I'm going to Africa. What gate am I going to? And the agent will be happy to assist you.
Than your boarding pass. The reason why your gate number could change is because sometimes the planes, if they're just trying to push things along, sometimes the plane has to change the gate that they were originally going to be at. Also, if you don't know what a gate is, basically that is where you're going to station yourself so you can then board the plane. On the board, it's going to show you your flight number and then where the gate is and what time the flight is leaving. So just make sure you're looking at the right one. Usually your gate is going to have a letter and then a number, like a G6. Once you figure out what gate number you're at, I highly recommend just going to find your gate right then and there. The reason why you want to find your gate is because even though some place might be like G1, G2, G3, G4, right? You may think G5, G6 is just a little bit past that. Sometimes there's some airports where it's like G1, G2, G3, G4, and then G5 and 6 are at the other side of the airport. So just make sure you check to see that your gate actually does exist. Why be stressed? Just look for your gate. All right, once you've gone through security and you found your gate and you made sure that it exists, you can then just wait right there and just relax, or you can go try to fill up your water bottle. That's what we like to do. Normally, most airports, they'll have a water bottle filling station or a water fountain.
as you are waiting for, once you found your gate, you're waiting. A lot of the times, if you do get to your gate at least an hour early or 2 hours early, depending on the season, let's say if you're landing in New York or it's winter time, a lot of the times, sometimes depending on the weather, there could be a gate change. So I always advise you to always look at the gate that you're at, make sure this is the right gate, look on the back. It'll have the place. If you're going to JFK, it'll say JFK to Athens. It'll say the time that you're leaving. If you don't want to look at that, then I would always say ask an employee like, hey, I'm going to Athens. I'm here in JFK. Does this flight go to Athens? Am I at the right gate? By asking an employee, they can confirm it. Some people have missed a flight because they've sat at a gate and there was no information there and they didn't ask questions. So I'm going to definitely urge you guys to, as you're flying, always ask questions. Always ask questions. If you don't ask questions, well, you're just going to be lost and you'll probably miss your flight. So I don't advise you guys to not ask questions. I want you to ask questions because you're paying a lot of money for a ticket. And if you miss that flight, depending on the location, a lot of the times, sometimes there's only one flight a day going there. So one flight a day, which means if you miss that flight, you're going to have to come back the next day. So it's always wise to just always ask questions
of some sort. So if you've seen any of my other travel tip videos, you'll know why I love bringing water so much when I am traveling. So yes, fill up your water bottle, go buy some snacks, go buy some food. If you are going to buy some food and you're not hungry right then, if your flight is a long flight, I highly recommend buying something that could last maybe 2 or 3 hours into the flight and you don't have to eat it like right then. Try not to get anything too smelly like fish or something with those little capers on those, because those can be kind of smelly. Also, if you are just waiting by the gate and you want to charge some of your items, just make sure you're not plugging in your USB thingy into their USB thingies. Nothing against the airports at all, but there are a lot of bad people out there that want to steal your information. It has nothing to do with the airports. It has everything to do with just some bad people that are not well intentioned. So instead of just sticking this in the USB port, what you want to do is just get, this is like the iPhone one, just bring like a little cube, put it in there, and then plug it into a wall socket instead. Not only does it charge faster, but you're not at risk with all your cybersecurity stuff. So I wish it wasn't like that, but yeah, just protect yourself and use the cube. If you do decide to go shopping in the airport, you may want to take advantage of some of the duty-free items. So what that means is if you're traveling internationally, because there's so many people coming in and out from different countries, it's kind of like bad sportsmanship to collect tax on all those people.
All right, guys, that's going to end the video. I want to send a link to her YouTube channel if you guys want to watch the full video, but that definitely covers anytime you're traveling for the first time. Like I said, the advice I can give anybody is when you're traveling, always ask questions. Always go to an agent and check in if you're not comfortable using a kiosk. And just when you're traveling the airport, be polite to TSA, and as always, mind your business. Until next time, Sony Reviewed It. I give you guys the best travel information. You're probably wondering why you should listen to me. I am in the industry and I've been in there for 10+ years, so I do know what I'm talking about. So safe travels and always be on time. Until next time, world.